Rex. My throat is getting really sore now. Been streaming for upwards of 2 hours already, and it looks like we have Dry Arabia. So it was a fairly convincing win for Old Men in the first game. Uh, that was a 3v3, so this is going to look a little bit different because now we've got 4v4 again. I think for home maps, like players, the teams could choose whether they had 3v3 or 4v4. But the first game was supposed to be 4v4. However, the fact that the Chinese team has now chosen 4v4 on Arabia, it suggests like they literally didn't have a player for there to play. Like one team literally didn't have a player to play 4v4 in the first game, because it seems like both teams prefer playing 4v4 even on their home map when they have the choice of 3v3. Anyway, let's have a look at the positions. It looks like we are starting on Vodka as Mayan flank versus Paladin as Spanish flank. That's very interesting. Obviously, Spanish can't do the traditional flank play of Drush, FC, Expo, which, to explain that in a way that is slightly more friendly to perhaps slightly newer players, that means making some militia, going to the castle age quickly, and then making crossbows. That is the standard thing that players will do on flank in a team game 4v4. But Spanish obviously can't because they don't get crossbows. Instead, you'll see either Drush FC and then make knights, or you'll see Drush FC and then conquistadors. But both of those are pretty dangerous policies against the effectiveness of a Mayan flank Drush FC crossbow. Dark Devil in the teal as Spanish, he's going to be pocket supporting the Mayan flank. So and he's going to be faced by Q, who is Mayan Pocket. So over here we have Mayan Pocket with Spanish flank versus Spanish. Sorry, I'm getting completely tongue twisted here. Mayan Pocket with Spanish flank versus Mayan flank with Spanish Pocket. So that is much more favourable for the 13th Legion on this side. They've got the Knight Civ in the pocket, they've got the Archer's crossbow Civ on the flank, and that's going to be allowing them to do the standard team gameplay much more effectively. And really, this is just a horrible situation to be in when you're on the Spanish flank, because normally a Mayan Pocket will do Drush FC and then Plumed Archers. Well, no, sorry, not Drush FC Plumed Archers. FC Plumed Archers, and then that is going to be very slow to support the Spanish flank, and it's already hard enough to play the Spanish flank as it is. So that is potentially going to be very tough for the Chinese to play on this. The Chinese team to play on this side. On the other side, we have Mongols Pocket for Yannick and Hun's flank. That's pretty nice. Huns can play both flank or pocket, so even though you'd probably prefer these two the other way around, it's perfectly fine. Here we have Hun's flank and Mongols pocket again, so it's basically a mirror matchup besides the flanks and the pockets being switched in the favour of the 13th Legion on this side. So really this is a good chance for the 13th Legion to come back and take a game in this series, simply because the Civ lineup works to their advantage. Obviously, it's now down to the players to make the most of that and execute the strategies correctly, to kind of abuse the fact that Q is going to be slow to support the Spanish flank he has, assuming that their players don't go for some kind of weird strategies that completely flout everything that I've just said. Looks like 13th Legion are team walling already. We can see this big wall coming up for Vodka. This is being done as well. This is a lot of walling. That was flared by Dark Devil, so this is going to be a big team war already. We often see the Chinese teams doing a gigantic team war in a lot of games, but it seems that at the moment they're being beaten to it by the 13th Legion, who this, besides the placement match, this could be like one of like 13th Legion's last games in the thing, so they're just trying to stay alive, and they probably want to be as safe as possible. The other thing that could kind of throw a spanner in the works to everything that I said about the positions of the civs and the likely strategies is obviously if one of the teams slings. Normally Chinese teams like to sling, but like we saw in the last game that they didn't do a sling on Arena. I'm struggling to remember the first game. I don't think there was a sling in that, but there was also another game for the old boys rather than the old men that you're watching now, where they didn't sling on Arabia either, even though we've seen them sling a lot in the past. So let's just see what the players are doing. It's best to look at the flanks. I don't see Drush coming out here. Don't see Drush. That's a late barracks, so that's looking like a scout build for Yannick in combination with his feudal age time. Barracks for Paladin, so he's drushing, but as Spanish, which you pretty much have to do. But he's not going to be able to do with anything with that because the team wall is going to be up already, assuming this gets filled in. There's no hole there. Don't think there was anyway, but Dark Devil's just playing it safe. Maybe he doesn't have the grid mod installed. I'd have been able to tell for sure if I had the grid mod installed, but I've turned it off for streaming after I think I've got more people saying they prefer to not have the grids when the streaming is happening. Vodka's scout going down. Over here we've got a Drush from... Oh yeah, I was looking at the civs slightly incorrect. So we've got a scout build for Yannick. He's going pocket scouts again, which we saw him do in the first game. Let's hope that it works out better for him this time, because in the first game it definitely didn't really work to his advantage because he didn't do much damage with it, and then he was kind of slow to help out Vodka because obviously he went up to the Castle Age much later, and Moonlight had knights. I think it was Moonlight anyway. Had knights killing Vodka's crossbows, and those crossbows couldn't do anything. The Drush for Moonlight is in Melkor's base. Moment it's tough to see what Melkor's doing. It looks like, well, he's putting up a barracks now, so he's gonna, but I'm not entirely sure whether he's gonna try and maybe do some kind of, I'm guessing from what he's doing he might be doing Cav Archer, but it's hard to tell at the moment. Paladin's Drush finally finding a way into Dark Devil's base. After that big team war came up, they left this bit. I mean, it was a huge thing that Yannick is now actually going to go and stonewall up. But I think I saw a villager go down for Dark Devil there at the cost of an Eagle Warrior for Q and one militia for Paladin. I think Vodka is going for plumed archers as the flank, so he didn't do Drush FC crossbow. Let's see what Feng Jin is thinking about. Is he on stone yet? Yeah, he's on stone, so he's going, most likely going conquistadors. Yannick is doing this gigantic stone wall off. I doubt that he's we're going to see a Mongol sling in this game. Rather, I think what Yannick is doing, he's gone scouts as the pocket, but then he knows he's going to be up late to Castle Age, and he just wants to be safe and try and boom up and make the Mongols a factor in the late game. I mean, he needs to make sure that he doesn't let Melkor die though, because if he just kind of booms behind stone walls, Melkor's going to be against two and being against Huns and Mongols by yourself is a pretty horrible situation to be in. But those stone walls will basically complete the team walls for the 13th Legion team. The only exception being that Melkor isn't included in the team wall, so he's going to have to be very careful. We went with archery range, so likely we're going to see cavalry archers in the castle age for him. Depending on how many knights Yannick makes to help him out, though, he probably won't be able to go too aggressive with them. Stone walls for Q and Paladin doing the same, so the Chinese team now putting up a pretty impressive team wall that brings in all 4 players. So the bit of a difference there, in that the 13th Legion have walled out Melkor, whereas old men, including all of their players in their team wall, which is you know, just makes you feel warm and happy inside that they've got such team spirit. They're not leaving one player out to die. So nothing much going to happen on the right side for a little while, because both players need to get their castle up. So castles up. They're both going for the unique unit. Plumed archers over here and conks over here, most likely. Although, let's see how much stone Fengjin's going to have. Fengjin's not going to have stone for conk straight away. So maybe he's just going to boom it up a little bit first. Like drop TCs before he builds his castle. Castle coming up for Q, and great spot because it's going to protect his main gold and to a certain extent his secondary gold. Yeah, basically the same thing for the mines player on the opposing team, protecting the main gold with the castle at the front of the base. Looks like Dark Devil may do 1 stable knights from pocket as Spanish, so he's going to be just doing knights from 1 stable and just trying to mini boom a little bit first, by the looks of it. And then Yannick just on the way for Castle Age with 1 stable as well.
Yes.
He did do scouts, but I haven't really noticed them doing anything of particular note on the minimap. Melkor dropping 2 TCs right off the bat and doing 1 ranged cavalry archers to begin with. It's really hard to try and like just sort of find things to show you, besides just telling you what each player is opting to do, because there's not, like, every team is playing very conservatively with big team walls and a lot of stone walls as well, so there's just no engagements going on. Like, the Drushes didn't really do much besides Vodka losing 1 villager. The players that made feudal armies haven't been able to apply any pressure at all. Two stables though for Yannick. He's actually adding a second one. We'll see whether he just goes really heavy on knights or mixes in some camels as well. Moonlight 2 rangers still making crossbows for now, so he's not going cab archer. Melkor 1 range cab archers, and he hasn't built a stable yet, so no bloodlines. So they've had no upgrades at all. So those cavalry archers are going to have a hard time against the crossbows until they get upgraded a little bit. But the crossbow upgrade hasn't kicked in yet. Nonetheless, knights here for Lang, and Melkor doesn't want to get these cavalry archers caught out. Best just to go back. He needs to just go and hide them, really, because he doesn't want to kind of run back into his base and let them he doesn't want to like leave this open and then have any knights following him in or anything. He may just delete that wall quickly to let them back in, but it seems like he's just going to hide them in the forest for now. On the far side, Feng Jin, aka Paladin, is just kind of Xing where Vodka's castle is, I think. town centre coming up on the second stone for vodka, so he's probably thinking about more castles soon, considering he wants to secure that extra stone. He's on to his third town centre. Paladin dropped one TC and is now doing his castle. So yeah, he just wanted to get his economy going a little bit before adding a few more vills to stone and then getting that castle up. Knights from CBJ Lang just trying to see if they can find any vulnerability in Melkor's walls, but they can't. However, the ranged units from the flank, from Moonlight, those crossbows are doing nice harassment on the wood line of Melkor, forcing them away from this one lumber camp and picking up at least one villager kill. Yannick doesn't have enough knights to do anything to that combined army from the flank and pocket at the moment, and they're actually going to get in, and Melkor is going to have a hard time again. I mean, and they're going to have to dive past the TCs to pick up too much kills, but in a sense, just by literally being there, they're doing the damage. Melkor has no wood income for as long as these units remain here. He's got to run all the way over here. That's a lot of villager idle time, and then spend the wood for a new lumber camp. Meanwhile, he's not been gathering wood for ages, and there's no chance of him getting these units out of his base anytime soon, because he just doesn't have the numbers. He's got unupgraded cavalry archers and no bloodlines, no blacksmith. Yannick doesn't have that many knights, and like to add insult to injury as well, he's got to, if Melkor wants to add any more villagers to this wood line, they've got to walk so far as well. So they're just simply being there. They don't even have to kill anything. Just being there is enough. And Yannick doesn't seem overly concerned by trying to drive the players out of Melkor's base. They're actually just trying to bash down this barracks to try and get through. That forces Melkor to drop a market to re-wall it. one crossbowman just taking his time, just picking off shots there. It's quite funny. Nothing much on the right hand side. We just see that Paladin does have his castle up now and is on 3 TCs. He's adding conquistadors inside that castle but not releasing them yet. Don't see the plumes from Vodka. They're just kind of being defensive, not really doing anything. At least Yannick is now into the Chinese players' bases. But with knights, he's not going to be able to pick up too many villagers because Moonlight's TCs are protecting all the resources nicely as long as he's vigilant about garrisoning. That said, there are too many villagers here to hide in this TC, so he has got some nice kills there. I think he picked up about 4 villagers or something like that. But
yes,
Melkor is having a hard time. Seems like he lost access to this wood line. Probably a couple of villagers went down in the process. He's at least able to drive the Knights of CBJ Lang out of the base though, because Moonlight's crossbows were forced to retreat when Yannick appeared in Moonlight's base. So Melkor is going to be okay for now. And Moonlight's not looking in that great a spot. He's got quite a low score. And if we look at the villager numbers, he's 15 or 20 behind everyone, or even nearly 30 behind Dark Devil, which is, you know, that's what you'd expect because he's flanker, not pocket. But Moonlight having trouble, and despite the disruption to Melkor, I think Moonlight's in a worse spot. One forward villager for Vodka over here, but I don't know what sneaky things he has up his sleeve. He doesn't even have sleeves, he's a male villager. Knights for just a couple of knights for Yannick left in the base. Seems like most of them went down here, but a couple more villagers too. Still, Moonlight hasn't fixed his idols. He's had a lot of idols for a long time. He's actually been forced to drop a monastery and do some monks as well to try and deal with the expectation that we'd have more knights in his base. But as long as he re-walls, there are only like 2 roaming around, so don't know whether that monastery and the monk was a little bit of an overreaction. The Chinese team thinking about trade already at 27 minutes. Obviously, setting up trade early is really nice, especially when you've got Spanish on your team, but still surprisingly early. Unless Paladin just wanted a market, but I know he'd already got one, so thought maybe he just wanted a market and thought I may as well build it over there, get the for like later use. Another castle coming forward for Q. He's taken this kind of important strategic spot in front of his base. It's actually really nice because the team wall with the stone walls is over here, and then because of the cliffs and this forest and everything, this castle basically controls the whole right half of the map that isn't walled up.
Yes.
Here we see Melkor with a few Knights of Yannick trying to break in, but they're not going to go in there. It's not really worth the probable losses that they would sustain, and CBJ Lang's Knights are close by. Just going to have a look at the booms of the players. Looks like Dark Devil is booming quite nicely. He's on close to 100 vils, about 10 ahead of anybody else. He wasn't the first up to the Imperial Age though, that was Yannick, but both pockets for the 13th Legion are going to the Imperial Age. Vodka's almost there, which is pretty nice. He's only got 22 plumes at the moment, but he's on 2 castles. He's throwing up a third, so he'll have a large, massive elite plumed archer soon. And he's facing off against a Spanish player who's been booming the whole game and has 4 conquistadors. So, unless Q can come to help out against Vodka quite quickly, then I think Paladin is in quite a lot of trouble here if Vodka plays it correctly and acts quickly. He's actually walling Paladin in to stop any kind of funny stuff happening. So he's, judging by the fact that he's walling in here, he probably just wants to come and concentrate his attack in this spot and go in like that. Nothing too much happening on the left hand side at the moment. Those knights from Yannick that went over to visit CBJ Lang have reappeared on this extra gold of Moonlight and picking up several more kills, which is really nice. Those couple of knights that Yannick had remaining have done so much damage for what they actually like, the investment that they require. Trebs and plumes for Vodka. What's his plume number looking like compared to Q? He's got 10 more at the moment, and he was first to the Imperial Age, I think, but I may be wrong on that, but Q's got elite. Vodka doesn't have it yet. Engagement coming in over here. Looks like a few cavalry archers for Vodka going down. Sorry, not Vodka, Melkor. And he's taken the worst of that engagement at the moment. He's facing off against 2 armies, knights and crossbows, and he's just losing cavalry archers. And meanwhile, knights from Lang also heading into his base. Melkor's having a bit of a hard time at the moment. It felt bad for him throughout the duration of this stream, because we saw him play in Legacy of the Huns before, where he pretty much got savaged by Hera, and then a recurring theme of some of these team games has been Melkor getting savaged by the Chinese team. So that's going to have been five games in a row where he's been having a really hard time. And it's hard, and when you're kind of casting that, it's hard to feel like you're not picking on him, but I'm really not. This is a problem though. You can only fit so many villages inside a town centre, and they're all going down. And Melkor just dropped a lot of population. He's only on 80 villagers now and 7 military. I mean, Moonlight's only on 80 villagers too, but at least his base isn't full of enemy units and his villages are actually working. Over here it looks like the Imperial Age engagement is kicking off. We see cavaliers from both pockets, plumed archers from both Mayans players. No, not cavaliers from both pockets, cavaliers from the Spanish flank. So Paladin isn't going to stick with conquistadors in the Imperial Age, and that's quite wise because they would just do terribly against the plumes, really. Plumes and rams especially. You want a paladin to be supporting plumes. Well, you want paladin to be supporting these plumes with paladins, especially. So we're going to see a symmetrical plumes and paladins versus plumes and paladins over here, and it's really going to come down to combination of macro and micro. Vodka only just got elite though, which has been quite fortunate for him that Q wasn't in a position where he was ready to push, because if Q had elite and Vodka didn't for several minutes, then that would have meant Q would have been able to push quite handily on hit against him. Dark Devil up to 140 villagers now, and with sort of fairly nice trade already started, whereas the Chinese haven't got the trade. So it seems like Dark Devil is in a position to have potentially more paladins on the field than Paladin himself does, at least for the near future. Yannick's now into Elite Mangudai with, he's just missing chemistry on there. He's going to pick up some nice kills on this gold, but quick reaction from Moonlight. But 13th Legion looking in a good spot at the moment. They are around 700 points in the lead, and it's probably the first. I mean, they did have score lead in the first game, but they weren't ever really at a point where you could have said, "Oh, they're going to win this game." But right now, even though you definitely can't say they're going to win, you can at least say they're looking a slightly better spot for now. I mean, Moonlight is still in the Imperial Age. He's barely halfway to Castle Age. He's still in the Castle Age, barely halfway to the Imperial Age. Researching scale barding armor, so he's going to do an Imperial Age transition into Paladin as Huns. That's a pretty common thing for Huns flank to do. You either do archers or cavalry archers, and then if you haven't got paladins from the pocket, then you will normally switch into pocket to paladins yourself, so you've at least got some paladins on that side. And obviously CBJ Lang will be transitioning to Mangudai. Here we've finally got Q pushing in. He seems to have roughly equal numbers of plumed archers to Vodka, but Vodka has the hill advantage. However, Paladin does have Paladin, whereas Vodka doesn't. Nonetheless though, Vodka has enough Cavaliers to force that back, and it's hard to really tell who came out of that fight the best, but judging by the fact that Dark Devil does have a lot more Paladins on the field than Paladin himself does, it's probably slightly better trade for the 13th Legion. Score differences have remained roughly the same though, so perhaps there wasn't too much in it. Total team score differences. Looks like Melkor might be ready to start applying a little bit of pressure to Moonlight, who's just delayed in this game, still in the Castle Age. Lang's Mangudai not really going over there to help out too much yet. Thirteenth Legion can definitely take this fight. Dark Devil's got more paladins. Just checking upgrades to make sure everybody's got everything, but it seems they have.
Yes.
And Vodka has more plumes on the field. The one thing about this, it's nice to take out the army, but it would be really nice if they had some siege backing it up, because, you know, if they were able to just put a couple of trebs here and start trebbing that castle, there wouldn't be much that the Chinese team could do about it, because 13th Legion have the army numbers to protect that. Over here, Melkor just with Cavalier now starting to take down some production of Moonlight and just kind of apply some pressure. Yannick has got 28 military, but his Mangudai are all over the place, so he's not really doing anything with them. Meanwhile, CBJ Lang is just massing. All of his castles are in one spot. That's really potentially crucial, because if those start getting trebbed down, then CBJ Lang will find himself unable to produce Mangudai all of a sudden, and that would be game changing if that ends up happening, but we will see. I'm wondering when the drop and restore is going to come in this game, because there definitely is a part 2. But so far we've reached the late game, if you like, without actually having that happen. This is what I would have liked to see a couple of minutes ago, when the 13th Legion had a big army there. That would have just been sealing out those trebuchets, and they could have had that castle down by now, but because because the armies aren't quite there in front of it, those could be a little bit vulnerable to a paladin charge, but they do have the numbers to protect those trebs. This is looking quite strong over here though. CBJ Lang does have a good number of Mangudai, but Moonlight doing Hussars as Huns, so I wonder if he's sending all of his gold to CBJ Lang for more Mangudai. But tribute received. Paladin's been receiving sling, so maybe he's sending gold to Paladin for more Paladins. As someone in the chat says, Paladinception. It's really kind of just tripping me up verbally and trying to cast the game in a way that's actually understandable when I keep talking about Paladin and Paladin upgrades and Paladin having Paladins and whatever. I'm starting to sound like... No, I won't go there. These are some quite nice treb shots, taking out all those plumes. Bombard towers coming in for Dark Devil as well, that would be a really nice push, but the 13th Legion are in. The 13th Legion are marching towards the trade of the Chinese team, and they're marching through the base of Moonlight, who is way behind in this game. He's 1,500 points behind the lowest score on the 13th Legion team. CBJ Lang though, that's a lot of Mangudai, and there aren't quite the number of Paladins there for Melkor at the moment to tank all the Mangudai fire. The Rams are coming in, which will help to tank some fire, but obviously Rams aren't that tanky against Mangudai at all. But really, you have to question how long this is actually going to hold. If Lang has good trade and maybe he gets some sling or something like that, then yeah, sure, Mangudai can hold, but if ever Melkor gets enough Paladins in combination with Yannick's Mangudai, they're not going to hold for that long at all. Looks... One siege round from Paladin here just seems to have taken down at least 3 trebuchets. I'm sure there were 4, but this bombard tower creep from Dark Devil is going to start being quite important. 1 castle going down for Q as well, so that's going to decrease Q's ability to produce plumed archers, although for now he does still have the same numbers as Vodka. The last treb going down though, so that will this castle will live for a while. Seems like for now Paladin has more Paladins, so really looks like this push from 13th Legion on the right hand side will stall for a little while. Obviously though, with all these bombard towers, the Chinese team are going to have a hard time turning around and pushing them back. Let's revisit the left hand side, where there's been a big engagement between Paladins from Melkor and the respective Mangudai of Yannick and CBJ Lang. Looks like the numbers are still there for Lang. There's a tiny bit of a meat shield coming in for Moonlight, but really those Hussars just evaporate under the fire of Mangudai. They're not even Mongol Hussars, so, you know, like, they've just got so little ability to tank Mangudai fire. I mean, like, yeah, they get 2 base piercing armor, but Mangudai are just so powerful. This is just really not ideal for CBJ Lang going up against Mangudai and Paladins with no Paladin support from his flank. Over here it looks like just a little pause whilst both players remass their army. Dark Devil's just filling this area with bombard towers. It's getting to the point where the bombard towers are going to be far enough forward that he can put the trebs under the bombard towers, and at that point it's going to be really hard for the Chinese team to actually run in and destroy the trebs. Mangudai numbers still in favour of Lang over here, but although not by much, and Yannick is able to add a lot more siege. Is this the starting main gold of Moonlight? It looks kind of far away from where his TC started, but maybe it was. I mean, it's a large pile, so it must be, but it just looks really far away. I can't remember whether they were starting TC. Maybe it was here, I don't know. But that main gold seems really far away if that was his starting TC. No, that can't have been, it's next to Forest. Anyway, right now, Moonlight does have a large number of Hussars, so he is tanking enough fire from the Mangudai that Lang is holding for now. This is an interesting push from the Chinese team, because where is the army of the 13th Legion? The plumes are here, but that's not going to be enough. They need Dark Devil's Paladins to help out. In fact, Melkor's Paladins have appeared from the other side of the map, so where have Melkor's Paladins gone? He's got some here. Is he going to double on the far side? There are none here that I can see. Still, the Yannick doesn't have the number of Mangudai to push in here, so let's go back over here to see what's happening. I'm just going to change to Dark Devil's point of view and enable military view so I can just try and find out where his army is, but he's only got 17. It's really weird. But he had a lot of Paladins and now he just doesn't. I mean, he's obviously going for Bombard Towers as well, but he's got the resources to be adding Paladins. He's on 173 vills as well. I think he just needs to delete some, because they do need Paladin on this side, because if there are Paladins for the opposing flank, but no Paladins coming from the 13th Legion pocket, then they're going to get pushed back after having this nice forward, and they've already lost half their Bombard Towers. Don't know why he's got so many villagers, you're right. But on the left hand side, even as the right hand side gets pushed back, the left hand side is advancing. CBJ Lang has 24 Mangudai, Yannick has 47 military. That's not all Mangudai because he's got some siege, but if the Mangudai numbers go in favour of Yannick, then that's going to be hugely important, because not only will he be able to take on Lang's army, but he'll also be able to make trade runs runs to the trade without sacrificing army. Dark Devil at least seems to be re-adding Paladins over here, kind of realised the situation was getting out of hand whilst he didn't have the Paladin numbers, but this is just an insane number of villagers, and presumably trade costs factors into that number. And he's got 3,000 gold now, 3,000 stone. Just doesn't need this many villagers, he needs army. I mean, Paladin's even pushing here now with more Paladins and siege rams. On the left hand side, finally we see Moonlight with Paladins of his own instead of Hussar. I guess he was on Hussar because he lost his main gold and didn't have the trade yet, but I can see orange dots streaking across the map there now, so he has trade, and he's finally able to support CBJ Lang with Paladins of his own. So although they've lost a lot of ground and Moonlight's lost a lot of farmland and production facilities, and importantly access to his main gold, it looks like they might be able to hold there for now. Still Paladin numbers for Dark Devil, like where are they? He's got 20 military. Looks like he's trying to fix this over here, but he's just stopping, well, nipping Paladin's little siege ram and Paladin push in the bud before it becomes too much of a problem. Over here, but numbers are looking roughly similar. It's really hard to tell, but they obviously the hill advantage for the Chinese team is nice. That said, there are 3 trebs here trying to knock their castle down. If Lang starts to go down on castle numbers, he'll struggle to keep Mangudai production. He's already lost one here as well. I said earlier there were 3 castles in the same place, and if he lost all of those, it'd be a problem. Again, we see that there are 2 castles in the same place here, and if they lose this fight, then these 3 trebs can just like repack up, move 2 tiles forward, and just treb that castle down too. Finally though, Dark Devil has a large Argent army again. He's got 40 or so military units now. He seems to have deleted 15 or so vills, or maybe he suicided them or whatever. But he's finally got enough paladins there to enable Vodka to push. Vodka adding in so many siege rams, and that castle 4Q is not going to live. Neither of these stables, and the Chinese team just having to give up all of this ground. Still absolute bloodbath going on over here. Really hard to tell who's got the most paladins, orange versus red, but it definitely seems to be Melkor actually. Nonetheless, CBJ Lang has lots of Mangudai on this hill, and they're struggling to, well, the 13th Legion are struggling to push up the hill. It seems to me like they don't even need to fight here. Why not just put your army on this hill and then just put the trebs there or something and just treb the castle? It feels like a little bit of an overcommitment. Like, you're never going to get those rams to the base of the castle. Rams die in like 1 shot from a whole group of Mangudai, or 2 shots. Just preserve your army on the edge of that hill and then treb the castles. Huge number of bombard cannons coming up for Dark Devil as well, and that's a nice addition. Allows him to be quite mobile and just start taking down more castles from Q. Let's see what some of these X is about. It looks like Q and Paladin are trying to do some kind of trade raid, but there are already lots of fortified walls here. Dark Devil, his fortified walls for him in this game are being a little bit more successful than they were in the previous game, when his wall and sling plan on Arena didn't really go so well for him. At least his walls are serving a better purpose this time. Over here, this castle still survives. I wonder how much stone CBJ Lang has used repairing it. I mean, part of me even thinks, why don't they just like ignore the castle and just go like around a bit? I mean, I know obviously you'd want to take down production facilities for your opponent when they're making Mangudai out of them, but it just seems like, you know, like if the Chinese team have got enough trade to keep buying stone, then unless you're going to set up like 6 trebs and really knock the castle down quickly, they've just lost so much. This cannot have been a good trade for in terms of like kills to deaths for the 13th Legion, and I still think they should have just sat on this hill and trebbed it from there instead. I mean, I know it doesn't, like, kills to death trades doesn't really matter that much if you've got like a good eco and no trade, and it's about applying pressure to the opponent on the map, and it's about taking the strategic advantage. But I still think they could have handled this in a slightly more like sophisticated way, where they didn't have to keep spamming and losing units. Siege Honours are out there for Yannick, and you know, that if he can get those Siege Honours just forward enough to do some big hits on CBJ Lang's Mangudai, then that's going to be decisive. And I think that will be the point when these castles finally go down, and then Yannick's Mangudai will be into the trade. To be honest, like, they could almost just go for make a run for it now if he had enough numbers. Over here looks like bombard cannons and paladins from Dark Devil, just allowing them to take down another castle of Q. I thought there was a castle there, but the footprint of the building looks a bit small. Definitely though, there were some more castles here that have now gone down. And Vodka is able to just keep pushing over here with the support of the bombard towers, which Dark Devil is just filling the map with. Looks like this castle has almost had it. Like, still only 2 trebs though. You know, if at any point they'd have had sort of 5 trebs instead of 2, then this castle would be gone. Just gonna look at the minimap a little bit just to see if there are any sneaky things happening in the trade, but it doesn't seem to be the case. military numbers, seems like Vodka has way more than Q, so he's the stronger Mayan player at the moment. Iridium or Melkor more paladins than Moonlight, so that's stronger as well. Yannick has double the military of Lang, so, and Dark Devil has, who's doing paladins, has more military than Paladin, who is doing paladins. So it feels like every single 13th Legion player has more military at this point, and they are seem poised to break the resistance of the Chinese team and just very, very slowly creep in, destroy the bases, destroy the production facilities, and reach the trade and win this game as long as they play it well. I just can't believe this castle's still standing though. Like, they just had they got it down to like 500 hit points at one point, but the amount of repairing that was coming in, and then there were just 3 trebs there, and it's a few paladins from paladin, and suddenly there's only 1 treb, and this castle's almost going to be at 4 hit points again. It's just crazy. Well, as long as they actually repair it. They're not repairing it anymore, it's going to go down. That's hilarious. After all that time spent trying to treb that castle down with multiple trebs, it goes down when there's only 1 treb firing at it because somebody, CBJ Lang, stopped repairing it. I'm going to see if he had stone left. Didn't have stone left, but he could have bought it. He's got enough gold, and he's... Thing is, he also doesn't really want to like use all those resources for buying stone. I guess the price is going to be quite high right now, and they are losing the fight anyway, even if he kept the castle. So he needs more army numbers. Like, he's gone down to very low, just 22, and he's trying to get Siege Onager and Drill in order to get like a force multiplier that will drive this back. But right now his resistance seems broken, and 13th Legion are into the trade. Moonlight is going crazy, just flaring all this, saying like, we need to get over here and sort this out right now or we're GG. But how do they sort it out? That's a lot of paladins and a lot of Mangudai. And even though Moonlight is there and CBJ Lang is there, I feel like 13th Legion have more, and Melkor's coming in with lots more as well. More Mangudai streaming in for Yannick, and Siege Onager coming. That's looking pretty deadly, as long as they don't get picked off by some rogue paladins. The only reason why Chinese might be able to win this fight is if Yannick's Mangudai spend the whole time shooting at trade carts instead of the enemy units. But you know, that's not even a victory for the Chinese team, or if it was, it would be kind of a Pyrrhic victory where it comes at such great cost it's not even really worth it anyway. Because they would have just lost all their trade. And we can see that so many carts have gone down at this point, and Yannick hasn't really lost any Mangudai, which means the carts will continue to go down. It's a shame for Yannick that he hasn't found that the mainstream of the trade is actually here and not here, but he's actually going there, and he's also going to put the Mangudai on top of a hill, which means they will be shredding trade carts even faster. And really, this is looking like it's going to be quite decisive. I don't know why Yannick didn't just sit there, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Just wants to micro perhaps against some of these paladins and then find the best spot. I haven't looked at the right hand side for quite a long time because it looked like that left hand side could be the decisive area. Q's got a good number of plumed archers now, but Vodka's still on double the number of military units, and they are still pushing slowly. I mean, I said it was a slow push last time I was here, which seems like it was about 5 minutes ago. They were here, and now they've got to there. So we're not exactly seeing fireworks over here. It is just a slow push for Vodka and Dark Devil. It looks like finally the Chinese team are going to clean up Yannick's Mangudai, but I just wonder how many trade cards they lost. In the end, like, it could have been a lot worse. If those Mangudai had sat there for like 60 or 90 seconds, it would have been devastating. But there is still a good amount of trade remaining for the Chinese team, and they're kind of stabilising. What just happened? Game ended. Right, okay, that is the point where the drop is. Yeah, that is definitely the point where the drop is. So we'll just drop out and get back into the second half of the game, or may not be a half. At least I hope it's not a half, because my throat is killing me. And what? God, I thought Foobly crashed for a moment then. Yeah, my throat is killing me, so I hope it doesn't go on for another hour and a bit with 13th Legion winning, and then I have to destroy my throat heading into a fourth game. Pyrrhic is only used in posh English grammar schools. I can assure you I did not go to a posh grammar school. My first exposure to the concept of a Pyrrhic victory is in Age of Empires 1. Pyrrhus of Epirus campaign. You must have played that. Anyway. Heading into the game, I'm just going to try and make sure I can get it running at proper speed. Game speed 50. It seems a little bit laggy, but I guess that could have been just down to the fact that it's restarting. It's definitely not running as well as before I restored the game. So guess we'll just have to put up with that, since there's nothing I can actually do with that. I'm just going to tab out and just see if I didn't just do something stupid that could be causing it, but no, there's nothing running somewhere that might be making my computer lag. I didn't give away the result. I said we will be going into a fourth game. I do not know the result. I haven't been spoiled on the Rex at all. They even give me fake Rex, so I don't know how many games were played. Alright, let's try and get back into this game, because we're going very off topic. Looks like Vodka is breaking into the wall, finally. So that means that if Vodka gets very much further, the Chinese are going to have to deal with the 13th Legion getting into the trade from two fronts. Yannick got in over here, and although the Chinese team kind of stabilised and still had a good amount of trade, they're barely holding them at this little frontier where the trade is. I mean, some carts are even running through the line of fire anyway. Most of it is still here, but the Chinese have to hold this line. And whilst they're just barely doing that, there's really no sign of them stopping Vodka's advance anytime soon. He's been pushing and pushing and pushing for so long, and finally breaking into this wall, and he's just a 1080p screen's width away from getting to the trade. And you feel like Paladin is going to have to send a lot more Paladins here in order to stop those plumed archers from getting in. I mean, as I've been saying all game, Q does have a decent number, but Vodka has been holding steady at 100 military units. This doesn't feel like 100 plumes though, so I kind of wonder where some of the rest of his stuff is. Whoa! Age of Empires has crashed and stopped working. Great. Let's hope that the wreck isn't faulty and I will actually be able to let's hope that the game, it was just my game crashing and not the fact that the wreck crashes the game. How do I know there are fake wrecks? Because basically I get given the maximum number of wrecks that there can possibly be. And they're basically they're wrecks of something else, but they get renamed and everything. So until I load them, or if I see the score go a certain point, then I don't know that what the score has actually been. So we got to 110 so let's just fast forward to there. We need to see Vodka get back inside this wall. I didn't say that 13th Legion won the game either. I said that my throat is killing me, and if 13th Legion look like they're winning this game, but it's going to last another hour, then my throat's going to be in a bad way. We're just fast forwarding up until the point where I crashed. So first of all, we had the players save and exit and restore, and then I crashed. So
yes,
we're just going to get to 110 because that's where my game crashed, and then we'll go back to proper speed again. Alright. Let's hope it doesn't crash. Once again, the game isn't running too smoothly, but I am running at the correct speed. Over here, seems like 13th Legion temporarily got a little bit worried about their trade. Oh, look, Mangudai. Looks like Melkor's got it, the wall up in time. There is one tile that... Oh my god. That was so close. The Mangudai was almost standing on the wall before the villager started to hit it. But even so, like, they're just going to go through here. And for all that 13th Legion are pushing and poised to get into the trade of the Chinese team, this raid is very deadly. Some paladins here for Fengjin as well, but there's going to be a castle go up. Yannick does have some of his own Mangudai, not enough, but some, and Melkor's paladins will chase after it. So I don't think that this trade raid from CBJ Lang really has the potential to be at all decisive. It's not going to even do as much damage as Yannick's raid on the trade did. On the left side, Yannick is fortifying this territory that 13th Legion picked up by adding more castles in. That's nice because obviously it's a oh, my throat. It solidifies the ground, but also allows him to produce from much closer to the fight. So, well, the thing is though that they aren't actually... Well, if those castles weren't there, they wouldn't be keeping this ground because Moonlight has a lot of paladins there, and Yannick just can't stand there anymore. I guess he had to send too many Mangudai over here to deal with the threat, and he's down to 45, which I guess is a decent number, but it's not if you're having to put them in two places at once and you're versus paladins. Over here, Vodka and Dark Devil are just pushing forward inexorably. Q has lost all his castles, so he's been forced to just do Eagle Warriors instead, which is kind of okay. I mean, at least he does have El Dorado, but really it's not going to work terribly well if Dark Devil has enough paladins and if Vodka maintains like 100 Blue Archers like he has done for most of the game, but he doesn't have those numbers here at the moment. Paladin has just appeared with a great many paladins of his own. And it looks like Eagles and Paladins are just going to clean up all of Dark Devil's Vodka's army that he has here. God, I keep saying Vodka or Dark Devil mixing up. Earlier on it was Vodka and Melkor, and we were having like Vodkor. But this is a really nice number of siege onagers from CBJ Lang, so he's going to be able to combat the Mangudai of Yannick. But Yannick... Mangudai aren't even here, they're over here. I mean, like I said earlier on, like, why don't they just stop pushing against castles and just try and go around a bit? Which he's now trying to do. And those siege onagers, they've got drill so they can kind of chase after a little bit, but if Yannick stays on the move with his Mangudai, they'll never catch up. Eagles are working for now, for Q. As long as they are backed up by some paladins, then it's going to be fine, but as I say, it's kind of just ominous for the Chinese team. They've still got good trade, but they are literally the width of one 1080p screen away from losing it all in two different places. Let's see these siege onager shots. Wow, that's a lot of Mangudai going down it, but it could have been much worse if the siege onagers, if like one of them had fired there as well. All these trebs being... Oh, accidental click on the minimap. All these trebs going down as well. That's quite nice picked up. But he doesn't want to then lose the siege onagers to the bombard towers and the castles. But it seems like Yannick is just like charging around everywhere. I'd almost say like a headless chicken, but it's really not like a headless chicken. It's with intent. He's just trying to find that place where he can get to the trade, and the Chinese team don't quite react in time, or they don't quite have the defences there, and he can kind of spend some quality time sitting in the trade, if you like. Over here though, since Vodka has remasked some plumes, and importantly, Dark Devil has a lot of paladins there, the Eagles just aren't cutting it anymore. Like, they could be okay in certain situations, but like they really do need to kind of like catch the massed up plumes in like open ground and kind of swarm them and get amongst them to actually work against them. And Q has like 15 Eagles, it's just not enough. Vodka's still maintaining 100 military. And my game has crashed again. This never happens. I guess there's nothing to do but just to GB and just go back in again. This must be something about this recording. Alright, head back into the game. I'll drop the resolution and fast forward to where we were. We were at 1 hour 17, so it's going to require a little bit more fast forwarding than last time. I have no idea why this is happening at all, because, as I said, it's like once in an absolute blue moon that this actually happens.
Yes.
Nothing to do but just wait to the point and get catched up to the point where we were. I'm probably going to have to start talking a little bit more quietly at this point because the other people in my house are going to go to bed soon. Just 2 minutes away from the point where we were. We want to get caught up properly because you know, this is a long game and we're only on the third game in the potential best of 5, so don't want to waste any time rewatching what we've already seen. I really hope my game stops crashing because it's just going to be really hard to get through all of these games if that keeps happening. Okay, we're in the right space, let's go back to the correct resolution. Slow it down. Remove fog of war. The Chinese still doing this kind of like last stand in front of their trade. Well, not even in front of their trade, literally in their trade now. But as long as they can stand there, then they can push the 13th Legion away. Huge number of paladins for Melkor coming in though. Let's see where they actually go. You know, obviously it's not that easy to kill too many trade carts too quickly with paladins, but he's probably going to be going in and either dealing some damage to markets or production facilities or economies. Huge number of Mangudai from Yannick are getting into the trade though, and Dark Devils, Paladins, and Vodkas, Plumed Archers, and Melkor's Paladins are all here. So really, like for the Chinese team, like how do you clean this Mangudai and these Mangudai and Plumes up? Because all 4 players from the 13th Legion are here with large armies, and there's just no way to clean that out, and that is why they're just calling GG. It's literally like all 4 players clumped together, just went, right, let's go and stand in the same place in the trade, and that's it, game over. So really, I think the story of this game was that, it seems a long time ago now, but like Melkor was having trouble initially, but then he grew a lot stronger than Moonlight, who was low on gold and was only doing Hussars for a while, which means CBJ Lang was struggling to hold against Paladins from Melkor plus Mangudai from Yannick. And then on the other side, the Vodka played an extremely strong game as Mayans, because he kept his military numbers really high the whole game. He's on 100 military all the time, whereas Q was dropping down to like 50. And he was losing his castles and stuff to Trebs, but also bombard cannons from Dark Devil. And Dark Devil just filled the map with bombard towers, which is really nice because it meant that as soon as the 13th Legion gained ground, they never lost it. And inevitably they just kept creeping forward over here. And although for a long time it looked like this was going to be the decisive area, in the end it was Vodka's just slow, inevitable advance through this kind of area of Q's base, reaching the trade line, and then just saying to the rest of his teammates, like, hey guys, this is it, let's go win the game, let's go and stand here and it's game over. And that's what they did. Whew. Yannick with 1,000 kills with his Mangudai, that's insane. CBJ Lang did really well though. Like, he was holding against two players more or less for so long because Moonlight was only giving him Hussars. You can see a lot of trade profit for all players, but Dark Devil was 73,000, which you would have to have expected because he was buying all that stone. There was no way he could have built all those bombard towers without ridiculous trade profit. Nearly 100,000 gold collected in total. But there was a moment in the game when Vodka was almost lost his push because Dark Devil made just crazy numbers of villagers and trade carts and things. And for a little while, Vodka was almost 1v2. But in the end, the fact that Dark Devil had so many trade carts and was just collecting so many resources meant that he could kind of sort of reappear and then just support Vodka all the way with bombard towers and things.